Hello cardboard lovers, it's Cardboard Badger here. I hope you're doing well, and today we have for you another budget Commander deck tech, $30 or possibly under. But here in the UK it works out at £25. So a Commander deck for the price of a pre-release, a world of fun, some great interactions with this deck, and obviously you're not going to go through every single card, but if you would like a complete list, there is a link in the description below. So let's introduce the commander. We have got Sidar, Jabari of Zalfur for 4 mana, 1 white, blue and black. We have got Humanite, 4/3. It's got flying, it's got first strike, and it's got eminence. Whenever you attack with one or more knights, if Sidar is in the command zone or on the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever Sidar deals combat damage to a player, return target knight creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this deck is all about recursion. We are going to be getting knights that have perished back from the battlefield. We're going to be enabling additional ETBs. We're going to be drawing a reasonable number of cards with this deck, and obviously there are some expensive knights in this deck as far as mana is concerned, but that's okay because we can discard them, get them in our graveyard, and then using Sidar's ability, we're going to be able to get them on the battlefield and cast them for free. There's also a side note as far as +1/+1 counters. That is also focused in this deck because that is going to enable us to generate a much larger army and create a huge number of knights, including when all our knights perish. This deck has a total of 33 creatures, only one of them isn't a knight. And we're starting off with Worthy Knight for 2 mana. We have a 2/2 with whenever you cast a knight spell, create a 1/1 white human creature token. This alongside is going to go with Corpse Knight for 2 mana, 1 white, 1 black. We have a 2/2 with whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life. So as we keep playing creatures, we are going to generate more creatures and drain our opponents. We've also got some anthems. We've got Marshal of Zalfur, 2 mana, 1 white, 1 blue. We have 2/2 with other knights you control get +1/+1. Also we have Valiant Knight, 4 mana, 3/4 with other knights you control get +1/+1, and for 5 mana, 3 white white, we can give all of our knights double strike until the end of turn. Caring about those +1/+1 counters, we're starting off with Basri's Lieutenant for 4 mana. We got a 3/4 knight. It's got vigilance and protection from multicoloured, but when Basri's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, you put a +1 counter on target creature you control. And whenever Basri's Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Continuing the +1/+1s, we have got Knights of Dol Amroth, 4 mana, 3/3, and whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Knights of Dol Amroth. Also, Exsanguinated Cavalry for 3 mana, a 2/3 menaced lifelinker with whenever knights you control deal combat damage to a player, put a +1 counter on that creature and create a blood token. And also Oathsworn Knight for 3 mana, 0/0, but it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. It has to attack each turn, but if damage would be dealt to Oathsworn Knight while it has a +1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a +1/+1 counter. And Knights of Dusk's Shadow. For 2 mana we've got a 2/2 human knight. It's got menace and our opponents can't gain life. Also Quende, Pride Ephemereth for 4 mana, 2/2 double striker with creatures you control with first strike have double strike. There are a fair few knights with double strike, but also obviously Sidar, our commander. And Herald of Hoofbeats for 4 mana, 3/3 with horsemanship. This creature can't be blocked except by creatures with horsemanship, and it gives all other knights you control horsemanship as well. Next we have a selection of knights that care about card draw and later token generation, starting off with Acclaimed Contender, 3 mana, 3/3. When the contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, you can look at the top 5 cards of your library, revealing a knight, an aura, an equipment or a legendary artifact from among them. Put it into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Also Midnight Reaper, 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. And also Lochthwain Lancer, 5 mana 5/5. It's got Menace. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, each opponent loses life, which is great, but you also draw a card. And also a Lender and Azor, 6 mana 6/6. Vampire Knight Sphinx. It's got flying, it's got ward 2. And whenever a Lender and Azor attacks, you may pay X, white, blue, black. If you do, you can draw X number of cards, and at the beginning of each end step, you may pay 4 life. And if you do, you create a number of 1/1 black Vampire Knight creature tokens with lifelink equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. The only creature that isn't a knight happens to be the Council of 4 for 5 mana, 0/8 Human Noble. When a player draws their second card during their turn, you draw a card, which is brilliant. And whenever a player casts their second spell during their turn, you create a 2/2 White Knight creature token. And for more token generation, we've got Silverwing Squadron, 6 mana. It's got flying and vigilance, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control, which should be quite a few. But whenever Silverwing Squadron attacks, create a number of 2/2 White Knight creature tokens with vigilance equal to the number of opponents you control. Also, we're playing Hakon, Stromgold Scourge. For 3 mana, we have a 3/3. You may cast Hakon from your graveyard, but not from anywhere else. And as long as Hakon is on the battlefield, you may cast night spells from your graveyard. So an additional way to do the same thing as our commander. And also we've got Aethersworn Adjudicator for 5 mana, 4/4 flyer with some removal on a stick. For 3 mana, 1 white and a black. We can tap it to destroy target creature or enchantment. And finally we have got Joshua Vess, Lich Knight, 4 mana, 4/5 with Menace. And when Joshua Vess enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 8 2/2 Black Zombie Knight creature tokens with Menace. Next we're going to be looking at the non-creature spells, starting off with my 2 favourite cards in this deck. We've got Invasion of New Capenna. What it does is not massively important. The main thing is we can get it to flip, because it then turns into Holy Frazzle Cannon. It is an equipment with whenever a quit creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. And each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. So if this gets through just once, and it will do way more than that, it is going to enable every single knight to have a +1/+1 counter on it, which is a huge help, because with Basri's ability, every single one that then perishes is going to gain us another 2/2 knight with vigilance. And we're playing Knight's Charge for 3 mana. We've got an enchantment with whenever a knight you control attacks, each opponent loses life and you gain a life. And for 8 mana, 6 white, black, you can sacrifice Knight's Charge and return all knight creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. We're also playing Collective Effort, 3 mana sorcery. It's got Escalate, so we can tap our creatures to do more of these options, but the main one is to put +1/+1 counter on each target creature player controls. And also Unbreakable Formation, 3 mana instant, giving all our creatures indestructible. That is great, but if we can play this in our main phase, we can put a +1 counter on each creature that we control and also give it vigilance. As far as removal is concerned, some of the cards include Harsh Sustenance, 3 mana instant. It deals X damage to target creature or player, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control. Also, we've got Fatal Blow for 1 black mana, destroying a target creature that was dealt damage this turn, and it can't be regenerated. Also, we've got Mortify, 3 mana instant, destroying target creature or enchantment, and also Go for the Throat. For artifact and enchantment removal, we're going to be playing Disenchant and also Invoke the Divine. As far as board wipes, we are playing Fumigate. For 5 mana, we have a sorcery, destroying all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. And also Time Wipe, 6 mana sorcery. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand, then destroy all creatures. Up next, we have a selection of equipments and enchantments to make sure that all the knights are nicely prepared. Starting off with Duelist Heritage, 3 mana enchantment with whenever 1 or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until the end of turn. Also, Sigil of Valor, 2 mana equipment. Whenever a quick creature attacks alone, it gets a +1/+1 until the end of turn for each other creature that you control. Also, Sigilled Sword of Valeron, 3 mana. It's equipped 3, but it gets a buff, +2/+0. It's also a knight, and when it attacks, it makes a 2/2 knight. We're also giving one of our knights a cloak. We've got Traveller's Cloak for 3 mana. It's going to enable us to draw a card and also give one of our knights Landwalk of the chosen colour. And also we got Key to the City, 2 mana artifact, enabling us to discard a card, making one of our creatures unblockable this turn, and also be able to pay 2 to draw an additional card on our next turn. And finally we get to our mana base. We're playing a total of 36 lands. We have 6 islands, 13 plains and 10 swamps, and our non-basic lands are Command Tower and Exotic Orchard. Also, Arcane Sanctum and Evolving Wilds. My favourite land, we've got Rogue's Passage for tap it, target creature can't be blocked this turn. And we are also playing Shine Shadow Snarl and Port Town. So there we have it. That is the entire $30 budget Commander deck tech with Sidar, Jabari of Zalfir. Huge amount of fun this deck. You will need many tokens. I definitely advise to buy lots and lots. But a huge amount of fun, great interaction. I've played this a couple of times at my LGS and everyone has enjoyed it, even when it's gone off. So, all I'd say is, I hope you've enjoyed this deck tech. If you have done so, and you would like to like, share, subscribe, do all the usual business, it will help out the channel hugely. Thank you in advance. Other than that, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, people, and we will see you again soon here on Cardboard Badger.